Yo, what's up everybody? This is Unpunk, bringing you another top 5 video here today for Fire Emblem 3 Houses. What we're going to be doing is talking about the classes that you're going to want to avoid using or just really aren't worth your time in your maddening difficulty playthroughs. Now, do note that this is obviously my opinions, so some of you might like these classes and might think they're worth it, but this will be a list on why I don't think they are a good investment of your time, mostly due to the fact that your levels and your stat growths and the abilities you learn are very precious, and you're going to want to specifically plan those out the best you can in Maddening, because every little boost to your stats is going to be very, very useful. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. Coming in at the number 5 slot is gonna be the Dark Bishop. While this class can be good for use in normal and decent in hard mode, it comes up lacking when used in Maddening for a few different reasons. First, this class has the worst growths out of the 3 advanced magic classes, that being the Bishop, the Warlock, or the Dark Bishop. And it only has boosts in HP, magic, and resistance, with all of those being 10% boosts or less. So overall, you can tell that the growths are not going to be significantly higher with this class. It also has a negative growth on defense, but all of the 3 magic classes in the advanced class have that same negative 5%, so that's not really that relevant. The skills in this class that it comes with by default, again, aren't very useful either, especially since it is an advanced class. This class allows any unit to cast Miasma, which is not extremely useful or really that special, especially due to the fact that you probably will already have Lysithea or Hubert or some other dark magic user, maybe Edelgard if you went that way, which would be a little strange, but definitely is an option. So Miasma is not really that necessary to have, especially because it's only useful while you are in that class. Now, additionally, it comes with Heartseeker, which is the best of its 3 abilities, which lowers its enemies' avoid by 20% if they are adjacent to the unit during combat. Now, this doesn't matter which side, so whether you're initiating combat or they are, but either way, if they're adjacent to you, so not directly in front of you, so at an angle to you, they're going to have 20% minus avoid, which can be useful, but overall isn't that useful compared to especially some of the uses that the Bishop or Warlock will have respectively. It also comes with Fiendish Blow, which is easily learned by mastering the Mage class, and these abilities cannot stack, so there's really no point in going through a Mage class if you're going to go Dark Bishop, because you can't stack the 2 abilities. So again, it's not very useful to have that as a base ability that comes with the class. After that, we also have the fact that in Maddening playthroughs, you will have plenty of time to master 1 or 2 of probably intermediate, advanced, and potentially even master classes, depending on how you set up your skills and how you set up the experience gained for characters. For me, example, in my current playthrough, Lysithea has already mastered the Mage, and she's working on mastering a Priest as well, so it's really easy to get a couple masteries in that 10 level gap you have, because you gain experience so much slower in Maddening playthroughs. Also, on top of that, the class mastery is Life Taker, which can be fairly useful overall, but there are plenty of other abilities that are more useful than that. And being able to only gain 50% of your HP back when defeating an enemy, which is how the Life Taker ability works, isn't really that great, especially due to the fact that it only activates if you initiate combat and defeat that foe. They can be at full health, half health, 1 health, whatever, but it's only up to 50% of the HP back from the damage you have done, and the foe must be defeated. So it's kind of a little harder to get that one to work every time, as it is a useful skill. Again, there's plenty of other skills that you can use in replacement for that, like Nosferatu, for example, which is learned by every Mage, or every character in the game can learn Nosferatu at the D ranking in Magic. Now, for all these reasons, that's why the Dark Bishop class is a class you most likely just don't want to use in your Maddening playthrough. Now, again, You guys might have difference of opinion, so let me know what you guys think of the Dark Bishop down in the comments. Next up on our list, in the number 4 slot, we have the Great Knight. This class has very subpar growths with only boosts to HP, strength, and defense, while having a negative 10% growth in speed and a negative 5% in resistance. The Great Knight also requires you to have a B+ in both riding and axes, and an A in heavy armor. In order to get your skills that high, you'll need to go through both Armored Knight and Fortress Knight, which both have minus 10 speed growths, as well as Cavalier, and probably want to hit the Paladin at least for a little while, which again have negative speed growths of 10%. As a lot of people have said on forums, the Great Knight is basically a side grade rather than an upgrade from the Paladin or the Fortress Knight. The abilities it comes with are Lance Fair, Axe Fair, and of course Canto, which all can be acquired and used better in other master/advanced classes. For example, the Paladin is a better version in my opinion, and also you could probably go with a Fortress Knight, which is slower but will have a significantly higher defense boost if you're trying to go with a heavy tank-like unit, or even that of a warrior would be a much better option for a hard-hitting tanky kind of unit. Now, the mastery skill is called Defiant Defense, which is the best quality of this class, but still will only add +8 defense when your HP is lower than 25%. And in a Maddening mode playthrough, you're not going to want to rely on a low health percent activation skill. It just doesn't make sense, because if you're getting that low on health, you're most likely going to die even with the added defense, because enemies have a very high attack speed and will most likely be able to double hit you either way, especially due to the fact that all of the classes you're going to want to use previous to this one as well as this one have negative speed growths. So the only benefit I would see is potentially taking someone like Felix with a 50% speed boost in a class like this, but you're really just limiting his ultimate potential of having high speeds if you're doing something along those lines. And for all those reasons, that is why the Great Knight comes in at the number 4 on our list. Coming in at the number 3 spot, we have the Holy Knight. While this class is good for offensive faith users, there doesn't tend to be enough powerful faith magic attacks that any one unit can learn. This class has pretty decent growths with boosts to HP, magic, luck, defense, and resistance, while none being more than 10%, but has a negative speed growth of 5%, which you never really want to use in a Maddening playthrough. The abilities it comes with are Canto, terrain resistance, which is really only, again, useful in a few chapters, like the final chapter of Edelgard's Route, for example, which has lots of fire. The White Tome Fair is its third ability, which, from my knowledge, is the only class in the game that gives this ability, clearly due to the fact it's not extremely useful for faith magic users, as it only boosts offensive magic. As you probably know, the most white magic spells that can be learned by any unit in this game is 3, and that is Lysithea, which clearly excels in black magic over her white magic, so there would be no reason to put her in a class like Holy Knight. And most other units will learn 2 spells, and some only even learn 1, and that being Nosferatu. With the fact that this class is not a very good class for white magic users, as it has no boosts at all to healing spells, which are the most useful abilities that white magic users have in 3 houses. On top of all that, you need to have an A in the writing skill, which takes a bit of time to reach, especially for a white magic user. You also have to have a B+ in Faith and a C in Lance that, again, most magic users won't take advantage of a physical attack or a Lance in this case, unless you have abilities like Frozen Lance for Marianne, which she learns from her budding talent, which does damage based off your magic stat rather than your strength stat. But for all of these reasons, this class comes in at our third worst class to use in Maddening mode for 3 houses. Next up, in the number 2 spot, we have the Dark Mage. This class is basically only useful for one character in the game, and that being Hubert. The reason this class doesn't work well for other units is because of its subpar abilities that are far surpassed by that of the Mage. This unit comes with the ability to use Miasma, and also Heartseeker, which again lowers enemy avoidance by 20% if they are adjacent to the user during combat. The mastery for this class is Poison Strike, which if the user initiates combat and lands a hit, the enemy loses up to 20% of max HP after combat. This ability is much better suited for a bowed unit like an archer or sniper, which excel in their high hit percentages, since dark/black magic doesn't specialize in its high hit chances. It additionally doesn't have any very good growths, and actually is the worst growths out of any of the intermediate level mage classes. Compared to that of the mage or the priest, they are slightly better in growths overall. For all those reasons, and the fact that it's only available to male units, this class is the second worst class to use in your Maddening playthrough on Fire Emblem 3 houses. The absolute worst class that you'll never want to use is going to be the Mortal Savant. This class is a fun idea since it specializes in both magic and sword wielding, but when it comes down to it, those two will never work well together in the same class. The growths this class has aren't horrible, having boosts to HP, strength, magic, and luck, but it has a negative growth in speed of 10%. Now I know a lot of people say just give 11 sword and it'll be fine, but that won't work if you're trying to attack an enemy with high resistance, and thusly making the sword pretty much useless, which is the whole point of having a physical attack paired with a magic, so that you can attack high resistance enemies and still do pretty good damage. Now this class comes with Swordfare and Black Tomefare, which are great, but either your strength or your magic stat will always suffer due to the fact that most units don't have high growths in both strength and magic. Thusly, you'll either have a powerful sword attack or powerful magic attack, but never both. The class mastery is Warding Blow, which if the unit initiates combat grants resistance +6 during combat, but it's not very useful as the amount of mages in battles probably won't be significant enough to need this extra stat bonus, and will be much less useful than other class mastery abilities. For all those reasons, that is why the Mortal Savant is the worst class to use in your Maddening playthroughs of 3 houses. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. We put a lot of work into it, and I hope it is as accurate as it can be. If there is any mistakes or anything you guys noticed that I misread, missaid, or anything of the such, please drop a comment down below, as I am continuing to work on improving the quality and content here on the channel every single time we make a new video. If you guys did enjoy it though, it'd be super awesome if you could smash the thumbs up. Really helps out the channel grow here. Also, consider subscribing if you guys are new. We're about to hit that 8,000 subscriber mark, and it'd be super phenomenal to hit that real soon. Thank you all for supporting my channel here. We have been putting in tons of work, tons of streams, and you guys have been crazy with the support over the last few months, especially with Fire Emblem 3 houses. We got plenty more videos and streams coming up here soon on the channel, so make sure you guys got notifications on so you don't miss any of our uploads here. And this has been your friendly neighborhood Unpunk, and I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Peace!